Are those people gonna be able to get a mortgage, or is it gonna be a plus because it's on there and you're gonna have a steady income stream coming from that? So, don't know. We don't have any of these yet. It's still new. We'll have to work through it and see what happens.
I guess I got a question as far as Nicole. Is this gonna be part of the site plan review through the towns? Will they have an option to go through the site plan process so that the neighbors would be looking at 100 acres of solar panels across the valley that was a nice rolling gentle hayfield at one time, and now is a mirror?
At the request of Mike, myself, and Glenn Nealis, Economic Development Director, were appointed as a sort of little mini committee. Mike's been working on this information with the presentation. Glenn was primarily responsible for drafting the pilot, and our job was, if the town requested it, we would evaluate their zoning to determine and make sure that if one was proposed, it would be subject to that. And we've also done some research and gotten some examples from some other counties who've had to deal with it before us of potential amendments that might be necessary. I think in general that if someone came in right now and your zoning allowed for a review, we could use site plan and seeker to accomplish what we needed to accomplish without doing something specific. But it may be worth it to do a specific amendment to the law if there's something, like I could bring it to the planning board and say to them, are there things in here you would like specifically put in the zoning? I mean, there's that sort of miscellaneous section that might say something about a specific use, mining or something like that, that the planning board.
Don't we have a category for alternative energy or something, I think?
Yeah, I mean, I think our general reading of it was it would be subject to it. Some towns have zoning laws that say if it's not specifically listed, it's not allowed. So in a number of towns, it's automatically not allowed. So people really need to call their town or their town planning board to see if they would need to file an application. We talked about this a little last night in Roxbury. The idea that like your mining section, for example, requires bonding to make sure that it's reclaimed. So when we did wind towers or cell towers, it was really common to that you would want something of the same, that if for some reason the company abandoned something or went bankrupt, that there would be money available for the town to go and remove it. I mean, that might be something the town would be interested in doing in this case, or it's something you would have the landowner make sure is in their lease.
Is there any hard numbers as far as resale value of properties that are adjacent to these?
Not as far as I'm aware of yet,
To
because
whether
it's
the values
really,
have decreased or increased because of these farms being in existence or close proximity?
not that I'm aware of. We do have one that we reviewed a year and a half ago in Hancock. So there is one already that's attached to, I don't know if it's a boys' school or camp, and they have a commercial field. But it's not anywhere near anything. So and I don't believe there's been any sales or anything nearby that we could gauge that with.
And that's the issue with these projects. It's the same thing with coming up in assessed value. There's, multiple ways. I know we've been talking at the county about doing something, trying to get it uniform through the county.
We're trying to get each town, each school, each village, and the county, and been talking about this with the assessors, through the various, and we all want to use the same thing so that they're not just going from town to town and cherry picking and saying, we'll offer you 10, and we'll offer you 5, or whatever. Have this. And by saying that you're going to tax it or you're going to go into a pilot agreement, doesn't mean you'll stop them from coming. They're in a business, they're going to make money. I have in tomorrow's presentations, which I can't print out because it's copyrighted, so I'm not allowed to give it up, I can read it. Saying that the percentage of, right now the renewables in New York State is about 2 or 3%, and it's supposed to be up to 25% by 2030. So there's going to be all these tax credits and stuff. These people are going to make money. They're not necessarily on the sale of electricity, although they might do that too. The nuclear power plants in New York State are 40 years old plus, and their service life is not infinite. So they're going to have something. The issue with these is that you know, typically from 10 to 2 is the strongest time for the sun. You know, you don't get much at night, and you don't get a lot when it's covered by snow. So you gotta have something to fit in between there, but then you have gas, and they can have gas, power plants that they can shut off, when, you know, when you have the solar and wind and the other renewables, and then put it back on when those are not available. So this is gonna go that, there will be tax credits, there'll be something, and I'm not sure the term, get that written down too. One of the New York State, authorities is gonna come up with these things that are similar to carbon credits that will be worth X amount of dollars, and you can trade and sell these, and you can write off other income with them. So any company that knows what they're doing will have some type of thing like this. And like I said, with 6,000 plus invitations in the county, I would imagine we would have some. If you do nothing, you get nothing. To get back to this right of first refusal, if you wanna sell this to somebody, or give it to your sons or daughters or whatever, you can do that, you can negotiate in good faith, you can agree on an amount, but first you have to offer it to the solar company. So you might not be able to, you know, pass it down the generation.
And basically, if we decide we wanna try to tax it, we've either gotta opt in and tax it at our regular formulas.
Yeah, we're trying
Or if
to
we
come
do
up
the
with
county
a,
program,
the
that
county
would cover
is
us.
saying that, what I'm hoping to have for tomorrow is an agreement where, the county will opt in, sorry, keeping you. It's just the opposite of everything else. They will either make it taxable, so the provision of the real property tax law says you can make it taxable, or you can go into a pilot. We wanna force them into a pilot, and the pilot says that the town will get 50% of the taxes, because they're coming, the county and the school will get 25 cents each. And that's not what you usually get, you usually get 10, because and the county gets around 23, and the school gets the rest. I did talk to somebody who worked for a school who said, well, they're not thrilled with not getting their normal percentage. 25% of new money is a lot better than 60% of nothing.
And I think too, the potential impacts that the farm would have to a town are much more significant.
Right, the
in terms of
neighbors
roads,
and
fire.
the town are gonna
Right,
do most of the work and be
Yeah.
looking at them.
Yeah.
yeah.
And with a couple of substations, chances are pretty good we're gonna have them popping up somewhere.
I figured the city would take all their land and do it
I don't know.
Perfect.
Well, it was suggested that,
It's gonna be going
you know, we had the
It's
county
gonna
tax
happen.
auction, maybe if some of those were 20 acres, we could sell it to the power
on
company.
there. Yeah.
It's easier if they just buy it outright, because then you don't have a lot of the issues with, what you have with leases. And, like I say, this is a business, they're in business to make money. They're
But if
gonna
the
go where
town-
they
yeah.
make the most money. You can't keep them out just by making it taxable. If you think that's what it is, you know, you're wishful thinking.
And I
It's
think
just-
people need to be aware that because we're calling it a pilot program, doesn't mean they're getting a tax break.
No, absolutely not. We are not offering anything.
We're
The
gonna
law
tax
says
them. It's gonna be
if
a
they go into
100%
this
value.
community benefits host program, you know, a long-term for pilot, that, they will be paying 100% in taxes of what they did. So if you have, your land was assessed for $5,000, they add a $100,000 array to the thing, their assessment's gonna be $105,000. You're gonna have an agreement saying, we're gonna pay X amount of dollars. You can charge them up to the amount, the full amount of what their taxes would be. And the assessors and I are working on something so that each one of the towns charges the same price per unit of electricity generated, so that we have a common way to assess those. But if you don't do anything, you don't get paid taxes. So like I say, we're trying to pass it at the county level, so we'll have a draft proposal so that the towns can adopt if they want to, or they can make changes on it. The towns would be the lead agency, so you're gonna have to be the one who negotiates. You're gonna have to say, we want insurance on you, we want insurance on the property owner, they need to be a named insured. We want this bond, so that if anything happens, you know, that's all in there. That's another reason why you're getting more money. Typically, IDAs can be town, and usually done at county level, but this is something that could be in each town. And we don't want 19 different versions of this, and I don't, you know, the combinations are endless for the stuff, and somebody has to keep track of all that stuff. And I'm not gonna be here in 15 years, so, you know, it's hard enough to remember what we got now. And like I say, they don't pay anything, if you tax them, they can take you to court, and you've got all those legal fees every year. Or if you have a pilot, you negotiate with them what it's actually gonna be. So we're gonna start first at the county level. Like I said, the assessors have been working on it for 2 or 3 months now, and we more or less all agreed that we would like to do the resolution, and saying we have the community host benefit agreement. I'll say that enough so I'll remember it tomorrow. Well, you're not allowed to say pilot, because some people don't like that, because it bears the connotation that you're gonna give something away. We're not giving anything away.
I think that was the problem with the last meeting. A couple
Yeah.
of people heard pilot, and it's like, we're not exempt.
Well, it took me a long time to come up with an alternative, to say the least. So now my 1-sentence introduction is now 4, but it does say community host benefit agreements. But you're gonna be the lead agency. You need to do something. You don't do anything, you don't pay any taxes. And like I said,
But if the county moves forward with a program, we can join that program, we don't
Yes.
have to do anything else with the state.
you would have to, no, you don't have to do anything else with the state. Essentially what you could do is I can provide you with a copy, and I have provided the assessors a copy of what the county's agreement is, and instead of where it says County of Delaware, I can put Town of Delhi in there, it's no big deal. And that would be, you know, you can do that by simple resolution, you don't have to have a law. And the other good thing is, you're not taxing anything but commercial. So if somebody wants to come here and put up a residential array, they still can do it. And you're not stopping somebody from using agriculture, somebody who's actually farming to put an array on their farm. Those two are gonna remain tax exempt.
No, this is just
But at least
commercial.
it's, you know, it's just commercial, and it's just so that, you know, they're gonna be making money for this, and believe me, they'll factor in, you know, how much the taxes are, and if it's too much from here, they'll go someplace else. So, you know, we just want them to pay a share.
And just so I get clarity, because you said it, but I wanna make sure I understand. If taxes are increased on somebody's property as a result of this, it's already established that the company is gonna pay that increase in taxes.
That's in the lease agreement.
Yeah, okay, so,
You can be,
The owner hopes that's in the agreement.
well, as I say,
That's where they need to be
it really
careful.
behooves you to hire somebody that's an attorney who has the time to read this and who knows how to deal with it. You know, again, you want somebody who's gonna concentrate, and, you know, that does this. You don't wanna hire somebody that does matrimony or divorce cases or something, you know, something ridiculous. You need to hire somebody who knows about this type of thing.
well, the reason I ask is I don't want residents to think that we're trying to destroy some opportunity that they have.
No,
These
no.
companies are expecting to pay something anyway. And
They
so
are.
we just have to opt in.
And there's
or-
also the, I mean, all you gotta do is say, you come here, you're gonna pay taxes, okay? I'm hoping that you'll say that we're gonna do a pilot, so we're gonna agree to the whole thing up front. Otherwise, you gotta work through your assessor's office, and they gotta come up with a value, and that value is subject to change every year, but it's subject to litigation also.
I'm assuming you guys are in favor of the pilot program?
Yeah, otherwise we're gonna see them at grievance every year and
Yeah.
be here asking to go to court with attorneys. And
No, we don't need any more of that. No more lawyers. Okay.
Anything else?
Any other questions for Mike?
I think this is important for people. Thanks for sharing this with us.
It's on the county website. 'cause
It's
I-
on the county website,
Yeah,
yeah, because
I
I
mean-
think that we should link to it for let town people know where to find it, because I can imagine a lot of people jumping on it and not understanding that.
Well,
you know,
listen,
how-
if I can't get through the supervisors in 3 meetings and I'm still answering the same questions,
Well,
I was
was the
somebody who
recipient of
knows
one of the
less.
letters.
Oh, okay.
So as a recipient of the letter, and they showed how much money I was going to be awarded for my lease agreement with this company, I think my wife had spent it all in like 30 seconds. And I said, if it's too good to be true, something's wrong.
Extension, Mike and I, Coffin and Gerhard, a land use attorney in Extension, had done a presentation back in early February to a lot of people who have gotten letters. They had a public informational session. So if you know people that have gotten solicited, referring them to Extension is also good, because they really work more on the direct lease issues. I mean, we can't give legal advice. We've read some of the leases, and people really have to be careful. We encourage people who've gotten the letters to sort of band together, and share information like they have in the past with gas leases or wind leases. A lot of those people formed groups and were very successful in negotiating good terms that were consistent and shared with each other. I mean, they say they're confidential agreements, but, so, I would just advise you, when people ask me, I refer them, like, you know, to like a list of land use attorneys I know that have already reviewed leases. And other people I know that have gotten letters that I think have really done some homework, or I say to them, you should call extension, and to talk to Marion Corrali. She's been working on this.
You're talking about
as well.
cooperative extensions?
What?
Cooperative extension you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's, I guess I feel like anything land use related we'll take care of, anything tax related Mike can take care of. I'm most concerned about landowners and making sure that they get really good information as they look to sign their lease, because that lease, you know, will, as Mike said, could bind them for a very long time.
If you sign this and you wanna negotiate anything, you can't take them to court. It's one of these things where you have to go to arbitration. The arbitrations are in New York City, they're not here. So you either have to hire an attorney from here, send them to New York, pay, I don't know if they charge for travel time, you know, a place to stay, food, everything else, or you're hiring a New York attorney who's probably charging 5 or 6, I don't know, maybe, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a lot.
A lot of money an hour.
So, and it's more in favor of the company. They have ways to get out of the leases, you as a landowner, not so much.
Nicole, you're gonna work with the planning board to see if there's anything we need to update in the zoning?
Yep.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
It's gotta come from the planning board, yes. And we just need to see. if
Oh,
we
the other thing I need to tell you too, which is why I'm doing this now, you only have 60 days to take some action after you're notified that somebody just intends to build something, even if they intend to build it 5 years from now. If you don't do something within that 60-day period, they don't pay taxes.
So we're kinda under the gun. So you're gonna make a fantastic presentation tomorrow and everybody's gonna.
Well, like I said,
yes.
I was told to talk less because if you stop asking questions, you know, you get out of there a lot easier. But half of the presentation this time were pictures, so I won't have to say as much. And then that would be the beginning of the meeting, and then at the end of the meeting is actual, the last resolution is my resolution, which I'm sure I'll have to get up there and answer more questions.
We'll make Glenn do it.
Yeah, we'll let Glenn do it. Glenn's not here, we nominate Glenn.
He'll be late.
Well, Glenn didn't come to the board meeting, he didn't come to the board meeting, that's why he's on the solar committee. That'll teach
That'll
him.
teach him.
That'll be.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you for
thanks,
listening.
Mike. Okay, next order of business, we got, approval back from DEC on our proposed changes to the local law for the flood protection. So we can get the new maps adopted on our deadline schedule here. So the next thing we gotta do is hold a public hearing. So I can get a motion in a second to schedule a public hearing for the May meeting, May 10th.
May 10th.
Should we say 7:15 again?
Sounds good, I'd make a motion to have a public hearing on May 10th at 7:15.
I'll second that.
Okay, second by Billy, all in favor?
Aye.
So you can get that advertised also? Okay. It was brought to my attention by our dog control officer that he finally read
His
his
contract.
contract. And found out that not only does he get a salary, he gets paid mileage and he gets paid for $10 for every dog that he drops off at the pound.
So for
So,
the last 5 years, he hasn't been.
he hasn't been paid for it for 3 years.
Well, he's been paid.
He's been paid, but he hasn't been paid the $10. Nelson and I ran through the paperwork, it looks like it might be 7 or 8 dogs in the course of the last 3 years. So, I guess, I talked to Dave said we can pay him for the 3 years, it doesn't matter to catch up. But, I'll get a hold of Al and have him turn in a voucher.
So we're gonna have a solid number.
We will
The next
make sure
meeting.
his number matches our number. What he says he dropped off from what we got billed, because we get billed by the dog.
can we approve paying him once we have that paperwork figured out at the next meeting, or do you wanna just?
We can
be
approve,
comfortable?
well, we'll have a voucher at the next meeting.
Okay.
We'll get it worked out, we'll have them run a voucher through the next meeting, so just
Okay.
be,
Just so
be
we can see
aware.
the
I
voucher.
think I'd
Right.
like to wait and see.
Yeah.
But like I said, the bills we found from the Humane Society, it looks like probably $7 or $8.
And we're going back just 3 years, not 7.
No, we're not going back. We're not going back forever.
Don't look at me like that. Don't judge me.
Statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations. No, we're broke, we don't have the money to go back that far. Okay, next up, bookkeepers asked for approval to attend a New York State retirement seminar.
Make a motion to approve it.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carried. Computer issues.
Yeah, we've got a major problem with our town clerk computer and the server. They're, actually, Elsa's computer doesn't wanna be turned off, or has to be gently handled, or it falls apart. So,
Freezes or.
yeah, it's on the verge of making its way out the door. So, we, had ISD put together a proposal for a new server, a new computer for Elsa, and all of this put into the system over here. The total is, for hers, is $1734.97. And what I would like to, I mean, I feel this is something we need to get done right away, because that, I'm afraid her computer's gonna just go anytime.
Crash and
It's
burn.
freezing up all the time right now. So I would like to, make a motion to, go ahead with this purchase of this computer and authorize this to get done as soon as possible.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Discussion.
Discussion?
Discussion. I have another, estimate here for a lot less than the 17.
That's a different one.
This is.
Don't get
That's
into that.
highway.
That's highway. That's a highway committee. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. That's a whole.
So this isn't, we can't get anything cheaper from the county?
No, not with this setup right here, with what we're doing here. This particular computer runs several programs for, all of our tax. This is also handling decals on the server. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this. So for the purposes over here in the town clerk's office with what's going on over here, this is the way we wanna recommend this be done.
Okay.
This is a far better situation,
Okay,
okay?
I'm looking to say.
Yeah, that's
I
a
just
different,
saw
I'm gonna
it.
bring that up in just a minute.
And
All right.
a lot quicker to get service on too.
Yep.
That's the big thing if we do have a problem.
Yep,
Just one question I had. Things are pretty well spelled out until you get to the last line. Installation, support, training time will be billed on a separate invoice at a rate of $85 an hour is
And-
required.
that's just what they do now. I mean, we have a contract, or, well, basically, we have a service agreement with ISD. They take care of everything here, the highway department as well as here. So that's their standard rate. Now, if they come here, that's the rate. If they do it from over at their office to, right onto the computer, which a lot of it can be, then it's a lesser charge. So, but that is their standard charge.
Well, I would assume they would certainly be coming here for the installation.
Oh, absolutely, for
Uh-huh.
instance. Yeah.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, the other, computer system that we're looking at, you also have a copy of. We looked at a couple of different things here. This is for the highway department. Their system over there is 8 years old, I think, now. And it's also, it's actually better as a boat,
Anchor.
than it is as a computer, but in any event, we did go, Elsa had approached the county, to take a look at what they could do. We also looked at ISD as well. My feeling is that, for the functionality of the highway department, I believe that what we've come up here with on the, with a, county bid, this includes a computer, a monitor, a new, printer, fax, copier, all in one, and then the wireless keyboard, mouse set, and, the networking, and that whole system comes out to $964.77. This is a system that I spoke with ISD, since they are servicing our other stuff. They have no problem with continuing to work on this equipment as well if we need them to. They also would be willing to install it all for us if the county is not going to install it. So we would have that option as well.
And this is going to give the communication between offices?
Now, what, with the, right now, the code enforcement office and the highway office, are actually hardwired together, so they can work and use the same printer and do all of that. The other system that we were looking at, just so I make this clear with Darren too, at this point, as far as going wireless within that building, it doesn't make a lot of sense to pay the money for that right now, just to be able to operate the printer wirelessly and the computer wirelessly. Since you're in that same room, it makes more sense, cost effective, to just plug the printer into the computer. Because of the construction of that building, a wireless system would work okay upstairs, but if you wanted to be able to use the wireless internet downstairs, it may be a problem because of the way that building is constructed. It may not work well. So it would work okay as far as they could see. You're really not gonna know for sure unless it's all set up. But his opinion is right now that working from downstairs to upstairs probably will not work. From the code office to your office, it probably would be okay, but there could be glitches. And at the present time, he is already hardwired into your office, so if he wants to print from his laptop, he can do that right on the printer now. So that we're not getting into a lot of extra expense right at this point, I think we should, my opinion is we should hold off on that wireless. But we'll still have the new computer and everything on
Okay.
that. All right?
We don't have any use for it downstairs anyway, but.
Right, I know, but if you did wanted to, a cell phone or something like that, and, it would not work well. And that's not saying we can't look at it as we move forward.
Mhm.
Okay, but my suggestion right now is let's get the new computer and get that all set up and running before you lose what you have.
Yep.
Get those things upgraded and then take a look at the rest of it as we move along. The other issue that we were looking at was to put in a wireless connection between this building and the highway department. That was gonna be $899 to do that.
Plus the fee for the month, every month?
No, there's no monthly fee, no, it's just the equipment,
Just
it's
equipment.
one piece goes on this building, the other on the other. That would have set it up so that everything that goes on in the highway department, the code enforcement, everything would work off the same server over here. Both places be connected. There's just some things that we're looking at in the future that I don't know that right now is the best time to spend that money. It's something we can do at any time, but I just think we need to have a little more discussion before we actually decide to spend the money on something like that.
And that can be done anytime, right?
It can be done anytime, yes. The equipment we're buying right now is totally, would work with, if we decided anytime to go ahead and do that with joining the two together. It isn't a necessity to do that, it just would have had everything stored on the same server is all. So. But my suggestion, at the moment, what I'd like to do is ask for an approval to move forward on the purchase of this equipment for the highway department. I'm not just sure how long it's gonna take for that to come in to the county. Does this all make sense with you, Darren?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it does.
Just one question, where were we appropriating the funds for both
That's
of
what I was
these?
gonna ask too.
Yeah, we're gonna borrow money from, we have a money in the equipment, office equipment line item. And I believe the town clerk as well has money appropriated in that line item already. So that's where this would have to come from, because it's equipment for those two line items.
Ours was planned from last year
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah,
Right.
that's all.
And this, going with the county bid, brings us in line